Hey, JJ, a couple of the players last night, I think DeAndre was centered on this, noticed that you were kind of almost more excited for the guys that were there, that, hey, here's an opportunity, kind of let's see what you can do with it. And it seems fair to say they delivered in Sacramento. Now the challenge increases, right, with two more of the primary handlers. What's the difficulty in kind of asking for that, repeatedly, right, more than once? The guys are going to have to kind of do more, and how do you balance that with just trying to follow a game plan?
We're not expecting Austin to go out and score 51 again. That's I don't expect anybody to do more than they're capable of doing. What we challenged the guys on before the game was playing with an edge, and that's a habit that I think takes time to form. We saw glimpses of it throughout the preseason. You're just kind of waiting on it. You hope you get it opening night. And then you finally start seeing it when we're in game 2 against Minnesota. And I thought the guys throughout the game yesterday just had a terrific competitive edge. That's what we need. And that's regardless if we have, a full roster or how many guys are out? 6, 7, 7 guys out. Yeah. So we gotta do it.
And of those 7, right, it's a lot of the primary ball handlers. So basically everybody but Austin. Is it not like a specific guy you can turn to, or Ravia? Vanderbilt can do some handling. Like, how do you account for that when Austin's not on the court?
Yeah, we're not a lot of time to prepare, obviously, but we'll have some pressure releases built in.
You went to Chris in that third quarter spot. He didn't get to play during the preseason because of the ankle. Just what have you seen from him behind the scenes that made you comfortable inserting him in the game at that point?
I
think I also know Gabe was. I think that was after also Gabe was hurt too.
I thought there was a chance that we had a flex spot in the first half, so he would have played the first half before Gabe got hurt. We're just kind of waiting to see. He's I think has the opportunity to be like an elite on-ball defender. We've seen that every day in the gym. He's developing as a shooter. He's surprised me with just his decision making and ball handling and being able to just play second actions. I asked him very early this summer when we had him in the gym for a couple of weeks. I said, "Did you play any pick and roll in college?" He's like, "Not a single possession." So we're seeing there's a basketball player there, and we're going to try to develop that. And part of that development is looking for opportunities for him to play in NBA games.
TJ, obviously tonight, second of a back-to-back, you guys have 2 road games this week. Is there any optimism that you'll be getting reinforcements here with some of these guys, or is Marcus, is that going to be a thing for a little while? Do you have any sense on any of these guys?
I don't.
You guys have taken a bigger picture view with health since the start of this training camp. I would say through now. Is there any concern about, particularly with Austin and his load level, kind of what has to be put onto his shoulders now that so many other guys are out?
Yeah. That's why there's daily, if not sometimes, 3 times a day, conversations with our medical team and performance team. So we'll monitor Austin for sure.
Hey, JJ. I'm just wondering, how do you push guys or inspire them to get an edge or find their edge?
It's a good question. I guess I just do it the only way I know how to do it. Just having my own edge. Yeah. But it goes back to anything you're trying to do in coaching, that you got to develop relationships and guys have to know you care.
JJ, what's your background with Tiago? Do you guys have any, prior kind of relationship, and what have you kind of seen out of him? I mean, you haven't had a lot of time to evaluate him, but just as he takes over,
have been, I would say friendly. in passing. Would run into him, whether it's in Brooklyn or obviously played against him as well. But in sort of my retirement, would run into him occasionally, and obviously have seen him a bunch at summer league. A number of guys that I know in the NBA well have either played with him or coached with him, and there's not a person in the world who has anything bad to say about Tiago. He's a stud. So you never want these opportunities to happen the way they happen, but I think he's prepared for it, and the lineage of people that he's been around to help him prepare for this moment, I think is important, and he's been around great basketball minds, great coaches, great players, so he knows what this is.
JJ, have you seen anything out of DeAndre? Anything extra because you're playing the Trailblazers tonight, or is he just the same guy? Or are you still getting to know who he is?
It's a back-to-back, Brad. Do you think I've seen DeAndre?
Yes.
So I'm walking in the locker room. He looked normal to me. 40 minutes on the clock. Rest is the priority today. We will prepare. We will have them prepared, but let those guys rest. So we did not meet this morning.
Coach, last season you referred to Tamani Kamara as a banshee. What does that mean, and what have you seen out of Kamara, particularly defensively, and maybe just the way the Blazers are playing defense, at least early in the season? And I know it's like now back-to-back, so I understand that as well.
No, I've watched them enough because I've obviously watched the Minnesota game as well. So in preparation for our game, so they're all picking up full court. Even Abdi and Sharp are doing it to an extent, but Kamara, Drew, Blake Wesley off the bench. He looks like a totally different player than the player that I watched in San Antonio. Just in terms of his confidence and then his defensive intensity and energy right now to pressure the basketball. It's the biggest concern you have playing those guys. Is just being able to get into your offense. And I think with Kamara, he's probably like, I was having a conversation on the golf course this summer with a guy. He's like, who's the guy that like the casual fan wouldn't know that's just awesome? I said, if you went and asked 30 NBA coaches that, they'd all say Tamani Kamara. Like he's so valuable as a basketball player and would fit on any team. And I love what the Blazers have done in terms of allowing him to develop not just as a defender, but as a crasher, a shooter, a secondary playmaker. So he's improved a ton. I thought his season last year was like A+, and he's in terms of a banshee. Do you know what a banshee is?
Yeah, it's the Moors, mythical kind of witch.
It's a Gaelic. It's a figure in Gaelic folklore. It's a spirit of a dead woman who's warning of an impending death. In Na'vi culture, it's a flying creature used for war from the movie Avatar. In the movie or the video game Halo, it's a Covenant warship with 2 plasma guns. And in Laker culture, it's somebody who's all in, 2 feet in the circle, a faucet, not a drain. It's somebody who just all in, full tilt.
That's a great turn of phrase.
Yeah.
Coach, thank you.
My favorite banshee is the one from X-Men.
Oh, okay. All right. Not familiar as teed up on that
You'll be familiar.
franchise, but thank you.
Yeah, you'll be familiar.
Now I got to go do this.
So I want to go back to revenge games. I'm sure you've had a few. I've seen the teams you've played on. And what do you enjoy about playing old teams? Like you're coaching now, but like when you played, what did you enjoy about like going back to see a team that you were familiar with, and you get a chance to now have new teammates while going up against those old guys?
Yeah. Don't quote me. I think I do think my highest career like points per game versus a team I think was against like 2 of my former teams, the Bucks and the Magic. and then Denver randomly. But so I always kind of got up for those games. I will say the first time was always very difficult for me. The first time you go play that team, because it's, I don't know, it's just there's a awkwardness to it to me. That's just me personally. There's just an awkwardness to it. You the training staff, the equipment staff, the coaches, your teammates, like there's relationships that have developed, and like I don't know if I'm ready to kill you yet, that sort of thing. So you get the first one over, and then you're like, okay, they're the enemy now.
JJ, I know like you meet with all your players many times, so I'm not saying by asking this question making it a unique situation, but Austin last night referenced talking to you ad nauseum in the off season, just about whatever his role going to be, the importance of his progression in his career, and just snapshot. What can you tell us about those discussions that you had leading up to this year?
I think the biggest thing, I can't summarize all of the discussions, but I think the biggest thing was him taking a step forward as a leader and recognizing that it's as much his team as it is LeBron's team or Luka's team. And acknowledging that he does have innate natural leadership skills and being able to tap into those more consistently. I told him he's out of excuses. It's you're no longer the undrafted guy who's a young player who's you're one of the guys now, and he's been very responsive to that. I think his preseason, his September, so far in the regular season, I've just seen a lot of growth there from him. I told him, I said, there's certain things you do on a basketball. He's a better player than I ever was. There's certain things you do on a basketball court I can't coach you on. There's just not. I didn't have the game that he had. There's other things I can coach you on, and I think his willingness to just be coached from the first day that I got this job to today. I mean, every day he's willing to be coached, and it's been awesome.
Thanks, Bill.